So now in your final module, Module 6, we're going to present some of the results of the projections to you, as well as still a little bit more discussion of how we fine-tune things. This first slide I'm going to show you shows the projections for employment growth for the state. And the first thing you can notice is that there's quite a bit of employment growth. We're projecting 4.03 million jobs in 2010, growing to 6.62 million jobs in 2050. That's a 64% increase in employment in the state of Georgia, and if you work it out, that's about 1.25% per year growth in jobs. So that's not super fast growth anymore, but it's definitely over time adds up to quite a few new jobs here in the state. Also, while it's not showed on the slide, I just wanted to draw people's attention. The Metro North Georgia Water Planning District, which contains Metro Atlanta, starts off in 2010 at 57% of statewide employment, and by the end of 2050 contains 62% of the jobs in the state. The other 10 water planning districts all either maintain exactly the same share of statewide employment or at most lose 1%. So in general, employment patterns in terms of how many jobs you have as a share of the state stays pretty constant in all the regions except the Metro Atlanta region. Now Warren will talk a little bit more about the actual population projections and a final little bit about how we brought things into balance.
Jeff has discussed the employment projections with you. Now what I want to do is to give you a kind of a teaser of the population projections. There is a lot of detail in the modules and backup data sheets. And I certainly encourage you to look at those carefully in formulating your opinions. But let me tell you that the population projections, as I referred to, we did initially projected the population solely on the basis of demographic rates of change. The kind of big picture for the state of Georgia in the year 2050, the population was about 20 million people. We looked at those population figures, and there's some back and forth with the employment. And the kind of bottom line is that population growth was outpacing employment growth too much. We have throttled back on the rate of net migration and the components of population change, principally net migration, such that now we've brought the population of the state of Georgia down to around 15 million by the time of 2050. That is still a rather large increase in the state's population. The rate of growth is slightly higher than growth in employment, consistent with increasing population at both the older ages and the younger ages of the population. The ratio of population to employment, we have arrived at what we think is an appropriate balance and use that as the basis for controlling the population growth. These figures are worked through not only at the state level, but illustrated here for the state. What we've done is to look within each water planning district, within each region of the state, that relationship between employment and population. That for some regions that actually draw workers from quite some distance, the ratio of population to employment is lower because they're drawing workers from outside who live outside of their region, and in other areas it's higher. But the graphs and the detailed tables of charts that are available to you on the water planning website will provide you that kind of detail. I Jeff and I look forward to your comments, to your feedback, and as soon as we get those, we will be processing them and producing a final set of projections for this round of employment and projections. I want to thank you very much for your help and important role in this process.